Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, with the current time being 4:02 p.m. on March 20th, 2025, call this meeting of the Board of Ethics to order. And Ms. Sleppy, would you please call roll?
Yes, Mr. Bellerive,
Present.
Miss Mogdam,
Present.
Miss Guess.
Present.
Thank you, Chair. You have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. The next item we have on our agenda today is the approval of today's agenda, and the board would, of course, entertain a motion to do the same.
So moved.
Second.
And are any opposing? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
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 And none opposed. Motion carries. Next item we have on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes of our previous meeting. And of course, the board would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of our previous meeting, please say aye.
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 Aye. Sorry.
You're quite all right. And hearing none opposed, the motion carries and the minutes of our previous meeting are approved. Item number 5 today at 5A, we have a consent agenda for forms for board review. I believe it may be appropriate to exclude item 5A1B from the consent agenda for individual consideration. Any other thoughts on the consent agenda from members of the board before we take this up?
This is Gretchen. One, thank you. I would exempt that as well. I did have a question on a few, and so is now the time to bring that up?
Certainly.
There are some folks, and it was like Chris Schutte and then a couple of the folks that went after him. They didn't put anything on the part of the agenda of what they would do if there was a conflict. Is that required? And is there a standard? I was fairly surprised by that, but I'm also know that I'm kind of orienting to this board as well.
And Paul, if you could interject, I'm flipping through this just to make sure that I grab the right forms. I think that there were a few, and I may know which one she's talking about, but would you be able to provide some insight?
Yeah, we see a lot. Maybe we should revise the form, or I've been thinking about that too, that providing clearer instructions to people to fill that up. But we do see a lot where they're not filled out properly, or they haven't put anything in the blocks. I mean, it's a common issue where they put, yes, they have an interest, and then they don't list anything. Or if they do list an interest, then they don't list, what remedial steps they're talking about, or what remedial steps they're going to plan on taking. So, I mean, we could just send them back and ask them to fill those. If there's anything that you think needs to be filled out more, we could just exclude those and send them back to the person, have them redo them.
Yeah, and I think. Oh, go ahead.
And I think that, sort of where there might be some room for confusion here for people who are filling out the forms to see Chris and one other here, at least, they identify that there is, this engagement in business with the municipality, but then we have the option for, could the performance of your official duties affect the entity's business with the municipality? And we condition the preventative measures on selecting yes on could the performance of your official duties affect?
Good. Identify the mutual, but correct. But that's not on the engaging with business section. It's only on the identify municipal contract. Am I correct?
I think I see, let me double check here, because I thought I did see that on both the contract
No, you're right. It did. it was in a different place. So Chris has said no, even though he's on building regulation examiners and appeals. And I guess I would have to look to staff to say, you know, is there a conflict? He doesn't see a conflict, but does staff see a conflict between those board duties that I'm not as close to and work that obviously is around building?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that I kind of highlighted too, is having some questions about. I think that would be an easy one to just kind of send it back to him, and I could talk to him too and get some more information, have him add some more information to that form, or I could fill it out for him, just to get that. Because I was, like you said, I mean, he's saying that he has, represents clients or has issues before that board, and then he's saying it doesn't have the ability to impact it either. So I think it's a little bit unclear. We could just get some more information on that form.
All right. And did we have, or were there similar concerns with, I think it's sub I here, that also had a no checked on performance of official duties affecting entities' business with the municipality?
I think I have too many things open on my computer, so I'm trying to figure out. I have to go back and find I.
So that's at 22 of the packet.
Thank you. So,
And I think that it doesn't seem like there's as close of a relationship between that interest as it was with the previously discussed.
I would agree with you. I didn't see it. I do think that we need, I don't know if staff can send these back when they get them, if that part isn't filled out, or if we have to send them back. But I think making sure people say, what are they going to do, is just good practice. But yeah, the Federation of Community Councils and the Women's Commission don't seem to overlap. I think that's the point that you're getting, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am. And so I think kind of
I would agree with that.
based on all of this here, board would entertain a motion to separately consider, I guess it's 5A1, B, and E from the rest of the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that.
And any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. And none opposed, the motion carries. We will now consider the consent agenda, that is items in 5A1 aside from sub B, and E is in echo. And is there any discussion on the items, well, that I've just described?
Nothing further from me.
Nothing further from me.
Excellent. And then the board would entertain a motion to approve these items of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the discussed items on the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Aye. And with none opposed, the motion carries. And thus our next item on this evening's agenda, this afternoon's agenda, if we could take them out of order, would be 5A1E, that is Christopher Shute.
Yeah, I would prefer, this is Gretchen, I would prefer to send that back and have it revised before voting on it.
I'd feel more comfortable with that too, just so that he understands, make sure he understands that if there is a conflict, he needs to disclose it and recuse himself.
All right. And Paul, if you could help me out here, do we need a motion to have you send this back, or are we able to just advise accordingly?
I don't think you need a motion, Carissa. You can correct me if I'm wrong too, because I think these two were pulled off of the consent agenda, so they'll just remain on the agenda for the forms that were pulled off. If the board doesn't do anything else with them, they'll just remain till the next meeting. So
Okay.
what I can do in the meantime is, of course, I'll reach out to him, get some more information, and we'll refill this form out, and then it'll just be added to the other ones that are addressed next month.
All right. So then I suppose the board would entertain a motion to table discussion on sub E.
So moved.
So, second.
And any discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to table consent agenda item 5A1E. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. And with none opposed, the motion carries. Next item on our agenda this evening is 5A1B. And I can scroll through my email, or I can just ask if someone wants to recuse themselves from
Yeah.
considering this one.
Yeah, I would like to recuse myself from A1B.
And now I've really got to lean on Paul or Carissa. Sorry.
I think you would then make a ruling, Chair, if there was a conflict with Ms. Guess's recusal.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
mean, it doesn't need to be much discussion. You can just, the chair can just grant that request and recuser.
excellent. Well, then the chair will grant that request and recuse Ms. Guess from considering this item. And is there, I suppose, any discussion on 5A1B?
Nothing here.
All right, then the board would entertain a motion to approve 5A1B.
So moved.
I suppose I will second. And any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And with none opposed, 5A1B is approved. Next item we have on tonight's agenda is unfinished business, of which we have none. And therefore, we have new business, and I believe the board would entertain a motion to proceed into a closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And with none opposed, the motion carries, and we'll proceed into a closed session.
The link, the Rooms app is not working, so if you all can leave and then come back into the closed session link.
Can do. Thank you kindly.
I was back, Chair, and you are back in open session.
Excellent. Thank you kindly. And do we have a motion? I hadn't realized I was automatically muted again.
I would move to direct staff to draft a response and send to the chair for review and signature. Regarding ethics complaint for violation 2025-01.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is to direct staff to draft a decision regarding 2025-01 and send to the chair for signature. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And hearing none opposed, the motion carries. The next item we have on this evening's agenda is member comments, and have we any? Seeing and hearing none, the next item we have on this evening's agenda is audience participation. And I see no members of the audience this evening. And on next, we have scheduling our next meeting, which is currently set for April 17th, 2025 from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Does any member wish to change that?
No.
I'm good with it for now.
And actually, let me make a double check here. Of all people, I think I would actually like to discuss changing it, as I'm realizing I'm mid-trial the week of the 14th through the 25th.
It would be great for me if we could change it because I'm actually in community conversations in Homer, but we had carved out the time. So
Do we expect there would be scheduling issues with the 10th instead of the 17th, perhaps?
I can do the 10th.
10th looks like it should work for me as of right now.
All right. Well, I suppose the board to entertain a motion to set the next regularly scheduled meeting for April 10th, same time rather than the 17th.
So moved.
I'll second.
And any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is to change our next meeting date from April 17th to April 10th. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And hearing none opposed, the motion carries. And finally, the board would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And with none opposed, the motion carries and we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good night.
Same.